Good evening, President Wilkerson and members of the Spokane City Council. My name is Dan Gibbs, and I'm here as a father. On December 6, 2023, my 25-year-old son Austin died after using Kratom. He had a future. He was deeply loved. Our family will carry that loss forever. His toxicology showed no fentanyl, heroin, prescription opioids, synthetics, or 7-OH. Only mitragynine, the primary alkaloid in what is marketed as natural leaf. His autopsy findings, including frothy airway fluid, pulmonary edema, and respiratory depression, were consistent with opioid toxicity. The official cause of death was mitragynine toxicity. You will hear Kratom described as natural, as harm reduction, even as something that saved lives. I do not dismiss that some people believe that that helps them, but anecdote is not pharmacology. Mitragynine binds to opioid receptors that produces dependence. If a product marketed as natural leaf is strong enough to prevent opioid withdrawal or substitute for drugs like morphine or heroin, that should give this council pause. The FDA continues to warn consumers not to use Kratom. There are no FDA-approved drug products containing it and has not been approved as safe for any medical use. Natural Poison Controls continues to report rising Kratom exposure calls, including nearly 1,700 in the first 7 months of 2025. Public safety decisions must be based on pharmacology and risk. Spokane is deciding whether to allow retail sale of an opioid-like substance with documented serious outcomes. My son believed what he was told, that it was natural and safer. He was wrong. Please do not let Spokane families learn that lesson the way we did. I respectfully urge you to support ORD C36820. Thank you.
Hi, can you guys hear me okay?
Yep.
Perfect. Okay. Hi, my name is Allison Smith. I'm the Director of Government Affairs for the Global Kratom Coalition. We are an alliance of consumers, scientists, and responsible industry members who work to enact regulations on natural kratom products. I'm here today in opposition of Ordinance C36820. As you know, it would prohibit the sale and distribution of all kratom products, whether or not it is natural. And while we share the City Council's goals of protecting public health and preventing the proliferation of these dangerous substances, a blanket ban is not the right approach. There is an important distinction that needs to be made. Natural kratom is a leaf botanical from Southeast Asia. It's been used for centuries as traditional use. It's very prominent in Southeast Asian cultures, and for the last 50 years, it's been used in the United States. There are over 23 million Americans who report using natural kratom leaf products. And it has a significant safety profile that's supported by the high population use of the natural products. One of those safety profiles is the FDA single ascending dose study that was conducted in 2024, which found that individuals consuming up to 4 times the recommended dose of natural kratom products had minimal adverse reactions. The most common one was nausea or vomiting. We acknowledge that there is a legitimate concern concerning the synthetic concentrated derivatives, particularly 7-OH. These are not traditional kratom products. They are highly concentrated, they're synthetically made, and they're compounds that are created to be more potent than natural leaf, up to 100 times. In 2025, federal agencies, FDA, HHS, and DEA announced a coordinated effort to schedule these substances, and states such as Florida and Kentucky have followed suit by prohibiting synthetic 7-OH while distinguishing between natural kratom with a limit on the 2% level.
Thank you. Your time is up.
Hi, can you guys hear me okay?
Yep.
I watched y'all's agenda review live earlier, and I 100% agree with Karkath's amendments, and let me explain why. Finding kratom in a smoke shop was a turning point in my recovery journey. When I was cut off from prescription medications after years of addiction, I was scared, sick, and running out of options. Walking into that shop and discovering whole leaf kratom gave me a lifeline I didn't even know existed. Because it was accessible, I was able to choose a different path instead of continuing down a dangerous road. Kratom helped me stabilize, care for my family, and rebuild my life. Without that moment, without being available to me when I needed it most, my story could have ended very differently, like my 3 kids burying me 6 feet deep, because I know I would have been a victim of illicit fentanyl. So you guys, please agree with Cathcart's amendment. Allow whole leaf kratom to be available in your communities so that people like me who had no idea that Kratom was even an option on this earth can easily just walk in and start their recovery pathway. Or that little grandma and grandpa that don't know how to order online could just easily walk in and buy lab-tested Kratom. Thank you for allowing me this time to speak.
Thank you. Jennifer, go ahead whenever you're ready.
Hi, yes, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. My name is Jennifer Gillis, and 20 years ago, I was diagnosed with transverse myelitis. I became a lifelong chronic pain patient. After losing access to my prescription medications through no fault of my own, I spent years struggling to manage my chronic pain. That changed in 2019 when I discovered whole leaf Kratom. Because of Kratom, I can get out of bed, run errands, attend school functions, and live a somewhat normal life. My story is not unique, and for many of us, Kratom is a lifeline, providing pain relief without the mental impairment commonly associated with traditional opioids, as Kratom does not act on the brain's receptors in the same way, and that difference matters greatly. To compare Kratom directly to traditional opioids is simply not realistic and ignores both the science and real-world experiences of people who rely on it safely and responsibly. I'm here today because when I found Kratom, I made a promise to myself that I would use my time and my voice to keep it available and keep it legal for those who are still either searching for relief or those who rely on Kratom and aren't able to be here to speak today. I believe everybody's voice matters. There's so many people dealing with chronic pain and they're miserable. They have no options for whatever reason. Could be not having access to health care, the ridiculous guidelines set up, unfortunately, due to the opioid epidemic. There's just a couple of reasons. Some suffer in silence. Some have turned to alcohol or illicit substances, even with the threat of fentanyl. Some or some have or will eventually end up taking their lives. Kratom may not be an option or a solution for all of them, but how many would be saved and see a light at the end of the tunnel if they were able to have the opportunity to try it after researching it? Educated adults should be able to have the option to
And
purchase
thank
wholly.
you, your time is up.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you.
Next up is Monique, online, and then Derek. Go ahead. Monique, go ahead. You should be unmuted.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
Okay. Hi, my name is Monique, and I am a Spokane resident. I'm here because of the city only sells ban on Kratom. This policy would not solve the problem. In fact, it would simply move it across the street. We know that banning a substance locally doesn't eliminate demand, it displaces it. By passing this, you aren't only removing Kratom from the community, you are just sending it to Spokane tax dollars to other areas and unregulated local oversight. For me, this is a personal because Kratom is vital in helping me. Almost 9 years ago, I was diagnosed with an autoimmune disease. And for years, I lived in a state of constant physical and mental exhaustion due to my severe flare-ups. The chronic pain was not just deliberating, it was dehumanizing. And I went through dark periods of agony that felt so insufferable that I felt suicidal. And I did not see a future. Kratom changed that for me by following me to manage my pain effectively, naturally, and it gave me my life back because I have access to Kratom. I am a present active mother to my daughter now, and I work as a caregiver, and I'm able to actually go and work out and get out of bed every day. This would not be possible without Kratom, and I think this would hurt a lot of us. I'm asking you to please not ban it, but to restrict 7-0H synthetic products and crack down on youth attractive marketing and just keep plain leaf products legal for adults with strict age verification. Please don't pass a policy that would harm us more. It would push the market into channels we can't control. Thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead whenever you're ready.
Thank you. My name is Melody Wolf, and I am here to come out against
C36820. I just returned from the 2026 four-day Kratom Scientific Symposium at the University of Florida Research Center. There were scientists and regulators from every U.S. healthcare agency. I did not hear one view expressed about anything wanting to ban the sale or possession beyond an age gate. That was the only thing that was talked about there. And our keynote, Dr. Nora Volko, she's the director of NIDA, she didn't say anything like that either. She was our keynote speaker, and she has a very favorable stance on Kratom. She gave the same favorable view at the 2023 and the 2024 congressional briefing on Kratom. This view tracks with the view on Kratom by current FDA Commissioner Macri and current HHS Secretary Kennedy. I was asked to participate in their press conference July 29, 2025 on Kratom and 708, which is not Kratom, and I would greatly like to see that banned. I was asked there to talk about the benefits that my family has received from Kratom. See, I've had severe chronic pain for about 20 years now. I spent 8 years of those bedridden, needing a walker, and even wheelchair in times. My family's, it was very dismal in this house. My children had to have fans on in their rooms at night so they would be able to sleep before they went to school, and they were all in elementary school. Now with Kratom, I no longer need mobility aids, and I'm finally able to be the mom that my kids deserve. In 2022, I was able to provide a full year of childcare with my granddaughter. She was born just at the beginning of that time.
And thank you. Your time is up.
Thank you.
Gina?
Hello. Council President, council members, thank you for the opportunity to speak today. My name is Gina Rogers, and I'm from Rathdrum, Idaho. I just wanted to come and share my story tonight simply as someone who has personal experience with natural kratom leaf. I'll start by saying I understand and respect the responsibility you have in protecting public health. I share the concern about unsafe or high-potency synthetic products like 7-OH that may pose real risks. That's why I'm asking you to support the amendment to Ordinance C36820 that allows for the regulated sale of natural kratom leaf and extracts, because a full ban would punish responsible adults like myself who use natural kratom products. In my personal experience, natural kratom leaf has been a mild plant-based option that I occasionally use for a boost of energy, motivation, and focus. It feels comparable to a strong cup of coffee. I do not use it daily, I do not feel dependent on it, and it has not created addiction or withdrawal in my life. It has simply been a wellness tool among many that I use. From what I've observed and researched, much of the concern nationally centers around synthetic compounds or highly concentrated extracts, not traditional natural leaf. Treating all forms the same overlooks important differences in potency, formulation, and risk profile. Clear labeling, age restrictions, and quality standards can address safety concerns without removing access for responsible adults. I respectfully ask that any decision made will distinguish between natural kratom leaf and synthetic or adulterated products and consider regulation rather than prohibition. And I would love to also, at the end of this, send you each an email with a link to kratomanswers.org, and it's a fantastic site that has documented scientific studies to back up these claims of its safety and effectiveness. Okay. Thank you so much.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, thank you. Good evening, Council President and members. My name is Holly Truval. I'm speaking as a mother who lost her only child, 25-year-old Tyrell, to metragenine toxicity on February 6, 2024. He drank a kratom seltzer marketed as alcohol-free, caffeine-free, and sugar-free. That was his sole cause of death, with no secondary causes or opioids in his system. It was ruled solely an accident. I am not a lobbyist making money, a store owner making money, nor a user of kratom. I am solely a destroyed and grieving parent whose only goal here is to prevent another parent from feeling the complete and utter devastation I feel on a daily basis. It is so no other parent has to visit their child 6 feet under in a cemetery. People say, well, we'll go to another town to buy it. You cannot rely on the what ifs and keep something on the shelf signaling it is safe. Regulation does not work. It does not magically become safe when you turn 21. The majority of deaths are men over the age of 21. That is scientifically proven, not opinion. And metragenine converts into 7-OH in the liver. That is also a scientific fact. Also, the study mentioned in previous testimony was not funded by the FDA. And for those who say it helps veterans, this year all armed forces ban Kratom, and you can be punished under their Uniform Military Code of Justice. My son was a member of the Army Reserves, and Kratom did not save him from dying. Your state already had a lawsuit proving Kratom was fraudulently marketed as safe and natural with no risk of overdose. That has not changed almost 3 years later. In Cowlitz County, Washington, in 2023, a state jury awarded a groundbreaking $2.5 million verdict in a Kratom wrongful death suit. It found the defendant liable for negligence, breach of implied warranty of merchantability, unfair and deceptive business practices under the Washington Consumer Protection Act. I realize that your job requires a balance of interest. However, I believe the public health, safety, and frankly, the lives of your citizens outweigh the number of businesses and people hoping to capitalize on this addictive substance. Therefore, I implore you to support the ordinance and ban all Kratom. It will continue to affect and kill some of the people you represent.
Thank you. Your
Lastly-
time is up. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we'll circle back to Laura. Go ahead whenever you're ready.
Can you hear me now?
Yep, we can hear you.
Oh, great. I guess I had to raise my hand. Sorry, I couldn't get it unmuted. So my name is Laura Romney, and I am the president of the International Plant and Herbal Alliance. I'm actually a Kratom consumer of 9 years, and I'm also a Kratom educator. And I wanted to tell you tonight that I do oppose Ordinance 36820, and I do approve of the Cathcart Amendment. Regulation is really the way to go. I'm speaking from a personal experience because I'm living in Utah, and I have had an experience over the last couple of weeks where we thought that natural Kratom was going to be banned in our state. Now the public officials have looked at it and have pushed back and said they realize that that is not the way to go, that they need to distinguish between 7-OH and actual natural plant Kratom, because there is the science behind it. It helps thousands of people. I know people in your community that this helps. It helps them, as you've heard tonight, to be able to do that. I also was at that Kratom symposium that was mentioned. And, individuals like Nora Vocal, who is the director of NIDA, actually spoke for an hour on the safety behind natural plant Kratom and the dangers of 7-OH. One last thing I want to comment is that I know a lot of communities that I work with are very concerned because they have a hard time distinguishing between 7-OH and natural Kratom. It's actually very simple to do. It's not a difficult thing. I would be happy, and I know other people in your community, especially some of those that are local that have spoken to you tonight, would be more than happy to sit down with you and to be able to show you how simple it is to be able to look at a label package to determine if it is, has appropriate levels of 7-OH. 7-OH is only found in absolute trace amounts in natural Kratom products, but it's in high amounts in
And
synthetics.
thank you. Your time is up.
Thank you.
But first off, I want to acknowledge the previous speaker's loss. Nothing I say is meant to diminish that. A tragic story like they had about Kratom can justify taking a risk seriously, but it does not justify passing a policy that predictably displaces access to less controllable channels and harms the most vulnerable people in this community. I also want to be clear. I'm not speaking as an organization. I'm speaking as a person. 6 years ago, I was addicted to Dilaudid. I know what instability and relapse risk look like. When I got out of rehab, a local Spokane Kratom shop, the same shop that would be shut down if this ordinance passes, treated me like a human being and helped me stabilize. I'm not saying that to romanticize anything. I'm saying it because a city policy is not abstract for people in recovery, and disruptions in access do not land evenly. Council still has to answer the basic policy question. Will this ordinance reduce harm, or will it shift where people buy? The ordinance does not ban use. It does not eliminate demand. It displaces purchasing to Spokane Valley, the county, and unfortunately, online vendors the city has no ability to influence. It's not harm reduction. It's a channel shift that creates predictable equity harm and shutters compliant local Spokane businesses overnight. Councilmember Klitsky said tonight she was bothered by some of the phrasing around immigration. I think that same principle matters here. We should cut through the rhetoric and focus on what the policy actually does. And Councilmember Dillon said rights are not rights without access. You can still order online is not real access. It's access to Kratom for people with cars, time, money, and credit cards. It's not meaningful access for disabled residents, low-income residents, and people in recovery. I'm here to oppose the prohibition, planning to ban all Kratom in Spokane. And I wish nothing but
And
the best
thank
for
you.
the speakers
Your time is
earlier.
up.
And I
Thank you,
send
Spencer.
my
you.
wishes out for your losses.
Go ahead whenever you're ready.
All right. District 1 spoke twice today, but might as well do a third. The war on drugs is a failure, which speaks to multiple issues tonight. A key reason for much cartel violence and many incidents of being poisoned with lethal doses of drugs is pressures from governments which domestically ban certain substances. The customers of those substances then turn into foreign markets and those who work with them. Gang violence, including many of the authentically violent immigrants, would not exist nearly as much if people were free here, and if America didn't play unreasonable and unethical regime change games wherever it pleased. The U.S. consistently causes problems it claims to solve. I'm saddened to hear of the loss people have felt from people overdosing on Kratom products. We shouldn't allow this to cloud judgment, especially when many more are killed by legal substances like ethanol and tobacco, both of which are heavily used by those proposing bans on many other substances and immigrants on those grounds. The opposite of addiction is community, not prohibition. Stop banning substances, stop banning people.
Good evening. I'm a small business owner and resident in District 3. I'm
Can you
calling on
tell us
behalf of the
your
Kratom
name?
ban. Oh, Jerome.
Jerome, okay. And what are you speaking on?
The Kratom ban.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm calling today to urge you to oppose the ban on Kratom and support the framework of regulation that I see as an option on today's agenda. I wholeheartedly believe that Kratom leaf isn't a problem, but synthetic Kratom could be problematic. Putting both of those things in one category is quite frankly absurd. I urge you to consider the potential ramifications that a ban will affect our Spokanites, our businesses, and the city of Spokane's loss of revenue from taxes. Please consider the possibility of implementing a regulation framework for Kratom. Thank you.
Thank you.